Hi, I just wanted to give you a bit more APA help. I know you have an APA assignment due this Saturday, so I hope this is helpful in addition to the many other APA resources I posted and of course your handbook. In addition, both of these essays I'm going to show you are posted. One was a rebuttal and one was a proposal from my English 1A students in the fall. Neither is perfect, but who is, right? But each was an A paper. I just want to highlight some of the keys of APA to ensure that you know what your paper should look like. One is the title page. Note the running head and how the page number is on each page, but not your last name as an MLA. APA essays have an abstract. This is just a summary of your essay. Remember, good summary writing skills. Keep to the main points. Avoid opinions. APA essays generally have section headers. This is actually the title of the paper, but you will then see section headers. They're not always there, but because APA tends to be used in social sciences, they tend to more discreetly organize information in this way. I think headers actually help you stay focused and organized. The ideas in the essay are organized the same way as any writing. Stay focused on one idea and support that idea with research. You do want to note the differences in in-text documentation. For example, we have an author's name, but there is no date for this source, so that is noted. I want to find another example here for you. Sorry for scrolling. Here you'll see that the author introduces the article title, the author just by last name, that's another difference, and then the year. So you want to make sure that you understand those differences. APA is more concerned with the currency of documents, so that is why the year is privileged in a different way than it is in MLA. So the references page, not works cited, is formatted the same overall, and in this example you will notice that the author did not actually do this correctly, as he has his first line of each entry indented, which is not correct. I wanted you to see an incorrect example as well as a correct example of a references page. Here you'll notice she has the correct lines indented. This is the same structure as MLA, so that shouldn't be anything different than what you've already been doing. APA uses the author's first initials only. Article titles are not in quotes. However, in the paper itself, you would put the article title in quotes, and you would use standard capitalization, which you will also notice about the articles. Source title capitalization is different in APA than in MLA, so make sure you understand this. Also note that book titles also follow this non-standard capitalization format, but that publication titles like newspapers and journals are correctly capitalized. Do not ask me why. I don't know. This is why the examples in your handbook are so important. I don't expect you to memorize these crazy rules. Model your entries after those in the handbook. Also remember that the library databases have a cite tool. You have to remember to choose APA, and then you may need to adjust formatting and spacing when you paste, but it's a great tool to help you. Click Cite, scroll down to find APA, and then you can copy that and put it into your references page. Again, you may need to adjust spacing or italics, but you have the basics down correctly. Although I will note that sometimes they do not follow the correct capitalization that APA tells us in the handbook, and you should always use the handbook as your absolute definitive guide. Also remember that unlike MLA, APA does use the web address for sources or the DOI number. People dread APA, but just like MLA, it needs some basic understanding of the order of information and then looking closely at examples to follow. You will use APA in other classes, 96.2% guaranteed, so you will need to know how to do this. You can thank me later.